Now, we looked at amplitudes, but there's really much more to graphing a sine or cosine or any trigonometric function. We're slowly working our way up to the entire transformations. Right now, let's just take a look at a period of a sine and cosine function and how to graph this. So the general form of this cosine is cosine bx, and of course I should put the amplitude right in front of it because we just talked about amplitude. My my function that I want to graph is the cosine of 4x. So you can see that the amplitude in this case is 1. So the amplitude takes on, or the y values take on the original y values of the basic cosine or sine function. What is changing here because of the period, the x values are changing. So how do we find what the period is if it is not a basic period of 2 pi? Well, we have the form of bx, and in this case, b is equal to 4. And the formula for the period for sine and cosine is 2 pi divided by b. 2 pi divided by b is the formula to find the period. So in this case, we have 2 pi divided by 4. If you are reducing it, that gives you pi over 4. So 1 period is pi over 4. Instead of 2 pi, 1 revolution, like we have with a cosine here, and this is 2 pi. Now 1 revolution would be pi over 4. So how do we get our 5 points, our key points? We need what are called the x increments. The x increments we need 5 key points, but we have 4 spaces in between, so that means to find the increments, we take 1/4 times the period. And that's how we label our x-axis. So in this case, 1/4 times pi over 4 is pi over 8. So our x increments are in form of pi over 8. Our y values are still 1 and -1 because of the amplitude. Okay, so I have them listed here, the basic y values for a cosine function. So we start with 1, 0, -1, 0, and 1. These are my y values. Of course, this is not shifted to the left or to the right, so my first point would be 0, 1. So here is 0. But now we're changing. My next increment is I have to add pi over 8 to 0, and I get pi over 8. So this is my next x value. And then to find the other, I'm just going to add pi over 8. Pi over 8 plus pi over 8 is 2 pi over 8. I strongly advise you not to reduce that because we keep adding pi over 8, and we need to have the same denominator. So that way it makes it easier on you, and you don't have to constantly find the least common denominator. So another pi over 8 is 3 pi over 8. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is 2 pi over 8. And then we have 3 pi over 8. And if we add another pi over 8 to it, we get 4 pi over 8. Now this one I want to reduce because I want to show you something. 4 pi over 8, if you reduce it, is pi over 2, and that is what we got when we found the period. 2 pi over 4 is pi over 2. Okay. And again, you can leave it as 4 pi over 8. Now I'm ready to graph. So 0, 1. Then I go to 0. Then I go to negative 1. And back up to 0 and back up to 1. This is one period of a cosine function where the period was pi over 2.